So when you were talking about inclinations just now and how you and I are different, what do you mean by that?
Well, I mean, like, you seem pretty laid back, willing to just kind of go with the flow with other people involved. Like, you don't feel too much pressure from them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for instance, in this idea for an interview we were talking about with another person, you seem pretty open to just go with the flow of the conversation, not focus on having too many points pre-written that we want to address. Whereas, like, I was busy writing out points of, like, okay, I was looking through your stuff, I wanted to ask you questions about this, something more focused, whereas you seem more comfortable in an unfocused direction. And I think for this medium of online kind of discourse, like, unfocused actually tends to be better. People love the unfocused stuff, they find it more authentic.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of at least in the current zeitgeist, in the current preferences for things, that's my weak point, because I prefer things to be I prefer to go more focused direction.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the core of why I prefer focus and why you prefer focus, it goes to a core point psychologically.
Could be.
Where, like, one of the reasons I prefer to be focused, one of the reasons why I feel uncomfortable just going with a natural free-form flow,
Mm-hmm.
is I don't feel like I have anything really interesting to offer on the table on my own.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel too comfortable with just, like, myself.
Mm-hmm.
Like, who cares what I have to say? Unless if I have some way of tying it into things that people do care about.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to focus on areas that I can address that other people might care about.
Mm-hmm.
But if the core focus is just what I have to say versus what somebody else has to say, like, well, I just feel like who gives a crap what I have to say?
Well, the artist's individuality, I think, is like the core part of his whole existence. I'm like really inspired by Vincent van Gogh, for example. Like, he's another artist I really like, and that guy, all he did was take his crappy life and expressed it through a paintbrush with some of the most ecstatically beautiful colors that mankind has probably ever seen in the history of art at all. And he didn't really, he painted fields and the people around him, but essentially like the locus of control, or whatever the hell they call it, like the focus was inside his own heart or spirit, if you will. And I think that when you speak about other people, which is kind of what YouTube has become, like all YouTube videos that I see that are video essays are about one thing or another. And like, I think that's fun. It's great when you want to learn about something, but I always have thought that YouTube is specifically made for like DIY content creators who want to talk about themselves. And so when I post videos or share my music or art on YouTube, it's like, yeah, I will obviously want to teach people things that I find interesting, but also, like, think about what you can do as an artist. Only you can do that. That's kind of my idea.
I mean, I completely agree with you, and that's one of the reasons. Like, one of my main focuses is writing. But what I like about writing is I can control so much of what I'm saying. Like, there is a individual thing that I think I can express that people will find interesting, but unless if I distill it, unless if I kind of, like, burn it down to its core traits, until I edit it, basically, I don't feel like anyone will care. Like, the raw, authentic version of myself, I feel like people would find, like, just an insecurity of mine, I feel like people find that interesting. But I do think if I can break it down into the specific areas, I can refine it, then people will find it interesting, which is why I like a more polished form, because I do think I have something to offer. But until it's polished, I don't think anyone cares. But you bringing up Vincent van Gogh just brings up a funny story I had today.
Okay.
Where I was on, I was just browsing 4chan with a friend, and I was on the advice board, and somebody was complaining about, like, guys, what to deal with the fact that, like, I found my girlfriend's vulva disgusting, and like, I just turned to my friend and I'm like, well, what do you expect it to fucking look like? You expect to find Vincent van Gogh down there? Like, I mean, we're talking about here.
Yeah, that's I'm opening up the pants and it's a whole colorful party. I mean, obviously, I don't even think you'd want to find Vincent Van Gogh down there. I feel like that there's probably even worse problems. But, hey, man. And so the thing about the internet, though, media in general, you would probably know a lot about this considering your background with Marshall McLuhan, is yes, you can like polish your words, you can polish your writing, and you can present yourself after the original performance itself. But I find that it's good practice to speak in front of other people and have it's okay not to be confident because you're eventually going to build on that confidence. Like how I was just listening to a podcast on this, but like when you have to concentrate on a new skill and it's not yet acquired, obviously it's difficult, but with time, that conscious effort that you're putting towards a skill becomes unconscious, and then a new layer of consciousness is added on top of that, which allows you to build on said skill. And so with being in front of other people, speaking and kind of like sharpening your words to as to the best that they possibly can be, I see it as an opportunity for self-improvement. And even if I suck at it in the process, even if people end up making fun of me, this also could be a big difference between you and me, because it sounds like your upbringing, like, I'm not trying to say it wasn't hard, but you had less people constantly coming at you. And I'm used to the idea of whatever I say out there is gonna receive some level of criticism. And at this point, it's not that I don't care. I think anybody who says that they don't care about what other people think about them, I think that's just a lie. You just learn to deal with it. And at this point in my life, yeah, I know I'm not gonna please everybody in the room. There's gonna be an idea I have which really pisses off somebody else. But unless if they can talk to me in good faith after the fact or whatever, what do they say in Fight Club? Candy stripe a cancer word? It's not my problem.
I love Fight Club, but I don't remember that quote. But I haven't watched it in I need to rewatch it. It's been good 4 years since I last saw it.
That's a great movie.
But getting to you mentioned my interest in Marshall McLuhan, and I've encouraged you multiple times to listen to Marshall McLuhan's lectures or to listen to his read his books, because he dissects the pros and cons of different media, and that's why he distinguishes cool and hot media. And cool media, which the TV is fundamentally, and the internet podcast, that kind of thing, is kind of like an extreme version of TV. It's very cool. It loves the authentic. It loves the lo-fi, low resolution, just personalities at their natural level, as opposed to hot media, which is something like writing, photography, visual art, like painting and stuff, it's hyper focused. And so certain media are benefited by being hyper-focused, whereas other media are better suited being unfocused. So for a digital age, especially one dominated by YouTube videos, podcasts, if you have a good personality type for unfocused content, you're in a good position. Whereas if you're the type of person who's more suited for focused content, you're in a bit of a not a bad situation, but
it's a bit of straits.
It's a bit of an uphill battle. You need to adapt a little bit because people like the raw, authentic, for what this media suits for, the medium of podcasts, YouTube videos, that kind of thing. It suits better for more quote-unquote authentic material. Even if it's not authentic, it has to at the very least have the illusion to feel authentic. But if you're naturally authentic, that obviously is a big stepping stone.
Yeah, that's the reason I do this, man. This is the reason why I hope that we continue these discussions in the future. All right, guys. Well, we gotta go, so scratly motley.
Yes, yeah.